wherein Swamiji is giving us the detail, or you can say giving us an overview of Vedantism. So he's telling us what is the religion of India, what is the religion of the people of India, and how it differs distinctly from the religion of the people of the West, or the religion of the people of Middle East. So he starts with saying, initially we saw that Swamiji says, I won't call it Hinduism because the word Hindu itself has been diluted or has been given so many different meanings. So when I say Hinduism, according to the understanding of the person, he may misinterpret the word Hinduism. So I would better, to be very precise, I would better use Vedantism rather than the word Hinduism, Swamiji says in the beginning of this lecture. Because this religion has been sprouted from Vedanta. This is the Vedantic religion, so I better call it Vedantism. Because the word Hindus means the people who live on the other side of Sindhu were called Hindus. And now Swamiji says, if I say Hinduism means belonging to all those people, along the length of time, it has happened so that all the people don't attest to that religion. All the people don't anymore tell their affinity to that religion. So it will be kind of untrue to say all of them are now Hindus or they are followers of Vedantism or Vedanta. So it will be wrong. So that is why I am very much specific about calling it Vedantism, so that it will not confuse with the people in India following other religions. So he starts with that, and then slowly he takes up different ideas about Hinduism, what it is based on. So I'm just kind of revising in short what we discussed. So he talked about the scriptures, he talked about Vedanta, he talked about Jnana Kanda and Karma Kanda, he talked about Puranas, he talked about Tantras, he talked about yoga's philosophy. So in short, he gave an idea of different aspects of Vedantism, and he told all these sprouted from the central idea of the Upanishads, the central doctrine of the Upanishads. So what it is, so he one by one he told that all this Vaishnavism, Shaktas, Shaivas, everything is nothing but the great idea of the people of India is that the God is one, truth is one, and the sages call it by various names. So they never fought, they never quarreled, they never had bloody wars in the name of their own God, like the wars that were fought in the name of Jehovah, in the name of that Greek, or in the name of Jewish gods. He quotes that so much bloodshed that we see in the history, but in the continent of India, the people of India never fought, never shed blood of other people just because they believed in the different name of God. So they all knew that it is the same God being called by someone as Vishnu, and being called by some other one as Shiva, and by being called by some other one as Shakti, and some other one as Ganapati, Ganesha, and some other one as some other name, so on and so forth. So these things, Swamiji says, is the greatest contribution of Indian people, Indian society, Indian sages to the world of religion. Because this never happened in the other parts of the world, but it happened only in Indian subcontinent. Then he talks about Shrutis and Smritis, and then Swamiji says, what are Smritis? So only that portion of the Smritis is acceptable to us, that attests to Shrutis, that attests to Vedas, that attests to the fundamental principles of Vedanta. The Shrutis that deviate from those principles are to be rejected outright, Swamiji told. Because those Smriti, and Swamiji says that eternal knowledge, eternal universal knowledge is the knowledge of Jnana-kanda, of the Upanishads, of the Vedanta, and the Smritis are revised, they are rewritten from time to time by the sages, by the incarnations who come, by the wise people who come, who lead the society to writing a new Smriti, which is relevant to that yoga, which is relevant to that contemporary time. So Swamiji says it is the work of these great sages who come from time to time to rewrite the Smritis. So these Smritis are to be taken only when they are complying the principles of Vedanta, principles of Shrutis. This he very much emphatically asserts. After that, Swamiji discussed about different aspects, different concepts in the religion of Vedanta. What are those concepts? Swamiji says the question of nature, Prakriti, Maya, all these concepts Swamiji discusses. So what is Maya? And then he takes up the concept of God. Then he says that in our in this religion we believe never in destruction. We don't believe in creation, but what we believe is evolution and involution. That nothing is created out of something. Something cannot be created out of nothing. So this is a very fundamental belief, fundamental principle in Vedanta, that the soul is immortal and it is just manifestation. So it manifests and it again it dissolves. Dissolution, or it pralaya, Swamiji says. Prakriti, sthiti, utpatti, sthiti, pralaya. So this thing is considered in our religion as the cosmology, in our cosmology, that there is no destruction, ultimate destruction of anything. So everything is involved. It goes back to its cause, and again it emerges out from that cause, and it manifests itself, and it evolves, it remains, utpatti, sthiti, and then pralaya again dissolution. So this cycle is endless, Swami says. This cycle in Maya, this in nature, is endlessly going on. And Swami says that Krishna says in Gita that I don't remain at rest anytime. It is not that God created the world in 7 days and he went to sleep, went to take rest. So weekends, God is sleeping, God is taking rest. And all 5 days he was working very hard to create this world, to create this universe. So this idea, he told, this Western idea is totally immature, because he says that Krishna says in the Gita that eternally I am working. I never stop working. I am never going to rest. So this is the very fundamental principle that Swamiji says. God is always working. In Karma Yoga also, in one chapter, Swamiji says in one Karma Yoga lecture that we should never believe that God is never active, God is not there, God is not looking at us. Swamiji says God is eternally active and infinitely present in every thing, every moment of our life. So we should not, it is not right to say, Swamiji says, that God is not looking at us, God is not taking care of this world. God is all the time working in this world. Then he talks about God, the concept of God. Then he says, Swamiji says, that I personally prefer, Swamiji says, before that Swamiji talks about karma also. What is the theory of karma? Law of karma. And then he says that this law of karma is the fundamental law which gives us freedom. It empowers us. The law of karma is the greatest contribution of Indian religion, that it empowers us. It tells that whatever you are suffering or enjoying is nothing but the result of your own past karma. So don't blame some other entity outside of yourself for your sufferings or for your happiness. Because that happiness also and suffering also has been the result of your own past actions. So this empowers you. This allows you to take the whole control of yourself, to take the whole control of your happiness as well as misery. Because once you know the secret, that I am the person who is instrumental in causing this happiness, or who is instrumental in causing this sorrow, then you won't blame anybody else. you will take the whole responsibility. You will take the whole charge of yourself. And what you will do? You will accordingly do karma. When you realize, oh, so my karma is only causing this whole thing in my life, so then let me do such and such karma. That will give me the results that I want. So this is the empowering theory of karma. And then Swamiji talks about impersonal God. That he says, he tells so many other things also about the soul. Also he discusses that how physical body, subtle body, causal body, sthula sharira, sukshma sharira. So he also says that sthula sharira only dies, but sukshma sharira and karana sharira are the other bodies that are encasing the soul. How they take from one birth to another. How a Western idea of soul, which is associated with mind, is wrong. Swamiji is talking about all these things. Then he comes to the idea of mukti, freedom. So that also he discusses what is mukti, what is liberation. And then he says the soul is sexless. Soul has no gender. So soul is beyond all these upadhis. And then he talks about personal and impersonal God, and he says that my personal or my so to speak devotion goes to impersonal God. He says, I find that impersonal God more attractive to me, because that is the ultimate ideal of Advaita, wherein it explains everything and it fits into everything. He says that what are our relations with this impersonal being, that we are he. He says, I am that impersonal being. That is the greatest thing that associates me with that I am that impersonal being. We and he are one. Everyone is but a manifestation of that impersonal, the basis of all being. So when the idea of personal God limits us. The idea of personal God differentiates between the reality. It kind of makes parts into reality. But when we go to the level of impersonal, then Swamiji says that it makes everything in oneness. It brings all creation or all reality into the oneness. And then finally, Swamiji is talking about, now he concluded, he says, now all these things we discussed in our previous readings, and now we have come to today's. Then Swamiji says about Ishta. Yes, one more thing Swamiji is discussing is about Ishta. He says that, okay, these are all theoretical aspects. Whatever I have told about Maya, creation, God, soul, karma, all these are the theories of our religion, about Vedanta. But now let me talk about practical aspects of our religion. And then he talks about Ishta Devata. So he says, though he as an ideal, he recommends the impersonal God. But when he says, but to practice, I need a Ishta Devata, my chosen ideal. So that is the greatest greatness of Hindu, that what he says, my Ishta Devata is Vishnu. Your Ishta Devata may be Shiva. Somebody else's Ishta Devata may be Shakti. Or somebody else's Ishta Devata may be something else. But they don't have any differences owing to these Ishta Devatas. They find that all these Ishta Devatas are nothing but the manifestation of one impersonal God. So what a Hindu says, that we have no quarrel with any religion in the world, whether it teaches men to worship Christ or Buddha or Muhammad or any other prophet. Welcome, my brother, the Hindu says. I am going to help you, but you must allow me to follow my way too. That is my Ishta. Your way is very good, no doubt, but it may be dangerous for me. My own experience tell me what food is good for me, and no army of doctors can tell me that. So I know from my own experience what path is best for me. That is the goal, the Ishta, and therefore we say, if a temple or a symbol or an image helps you to realize the divinity within, you are welcome to it. Have 200 images if you like. If certain forms and formularies help you to realize the divine, God speed you. Have, by all means, whatever forms and whatever temples and whatever ceremonies you want to bring you nearer to God. But do not quarrel about them. The moment you quarrel, you are not going Godward. You are going backward. towards the brutes. So this is one idea of Ishta that Swami says. This is the practical side of the religion, that it gives you something to seek, that it attaches your mind to something to evolve towards God. And then Swamiji continues. These are a few ideas in our religion. It is one of inclusion of everyone, exclusion of none. Though our castes and other institutions are apparently linked with our religion, they are not so. So this is the greatest misconception in the world, that Hindus are castists. So they are the people who divide themselves. So with castes and all. So this, Swamiji says, this is not so. Caste has no relation to religion. So this is a social institution that Swamiji continues now. These institutions, these institutions like castes, one example he gave caste, and other such institutions have been necessary to protect us as a nation. And when this necessity for self-preservation will no more exist, they will die a natural death. So Swamiji says, you don't relate it to religion. Religion is different and caste is different. Religion gives you the way towards God, the way towards evolution. And now, what is this caste and other systems? They are social systems. They are the systems developed by the society to keep us protected as a nation. So this is the thing, and when we will find, our society will find that now no more we need to have these institutions for our protection as a nation, as an identity, then automatically they will die their natural death. This is what Swami says. But the older I grow, Swamiji is saying, the older I grow, the better I seem to think of these time-honored institutions of India. So Swamiji is praising them. Swami is said, don't condemn these institutions. They are the time-honored institutions. They are time-tested. They have been going on for thousands of years. So we cannot just suddenly somebody comes and starts condemning them. Oh, this is all bad. This is all like a blot on our society. They are being there for thousands of years, and you are suddenly, how can you blame them? So he says like that. There was a time when I used to think that many of them were useless and worthless. But the older I grow, the more I seem to feel diffidence in cursing any one of them. For each one of them is the embodiment of the experience of centuries. A child of but yesterday, destined to die the day after tomorrow, comes to me and asks me to change all my plans. And if I hear the advice of that baby and change all my surroundings according to his ideas, I myself should be a fool and no one else. Much of the advice that is coming to us from different countries is similar to this. So Swamiji is saying, so suddenly some British person comes, suddenly some American comes, suddenly some Western comes and tells, all your social institutions are bad. They are so filthy. They are condemnable. So he comes and I suddenly, oh yes, I start blaming myself. I start blaming my own nation, my country, my people, my society. Oh, how filthy society I have. See, those people are coming and telling me that all of my institutions, these social institutions, are having so many problems. They have so many faults in them, and I immediately start accepting them. So this is, Swamiji says, that some child of yesterday, what is Western civilization? He is calling this, whom he is indirectly pointing to, this child of yesterday, he is pointing to Western civilization. How long you have been surviving? You are just a child of yesterday. And you are coming to me and you are telling me that you change all your plans. Hey, don't behave like this, don't live like this. You suddenly start coming and telling me. Just because you conquered our race, just because you are ruling us, you start coming and telling us this is wrong, that is wrong. Your religion is wrong, your society is wrong, everything. And if I start believing him, I will be a greatest fool. Swamiji says, no one else, I will be a fool to immediately believe him. So what is that? Swamiji is saying much of the advice that is coming to us these days from different countries is similar to this. They are just children, those countries. What do they know about Indian society? About the time-tested thousands of centuries, thousands of years of traditions. What do they know? They are the children. Just now they have taken birth and they are telling us about these things. So then he continues, tell these wiseacres. Now he says, I will hear you when you have made a stable society yourselves. You cannot hold on to one idea for 2 days. You quarrel and fail. You are born like moths in the spring and die like them in 5 minutes. You come up like bubbles and burst like bubbles too. First form a stable society like ours. First make laws and institutions that remain undiminished in their power through scores of centuries. Then will be the time to talk on the subject with you. But till then, my friend, you are only a giddy child. So Swamiji is telling those Western people, those countries he is addressing. So what credentials do you have? First you survive. Let me see if you survive for 2, 3, 4, 5,000 years. Let me see if your traditions survive for some 5,000 years. Let me see if your society remains intact for 5,000 years. Let me see your thought remains intact for You are thinking one thing now, another 2 days you are given up that. It's like a bubble, you come up with something, and like a bubble you burst. It's like a moth, you are born, and like a moth 5 minutes, the moths are like 5 minutes, their lifespan is. Like that your society, like that your ideas, like that your culture, like that your traditions. They are not, yesterday they are not born and today they are already dead. And you are talking to me. You are telling me and sermonizing me that my Indian society is bad, my Indian society is filthy, my Indian society is all having faults only. Okay, I will listen to you. But when? After 5,000 years. Yes, I will say, my friend, you come. After 5,000 years, if I see you surviving still, and you are not a bubble, you are not a moth, yes, then I will say, yes, please come and sit. Let us discuss what are faults in our society. Then I will call you eligible. Then you have passed the test of eligibility to talk to me. Before that, I cannot even talk to you. So this is the greatness of Indian society, Swamiji is telling to our Indian people. When he landed in India, after all his sojourn in the West, 3-4 years he spent there, traveling from America to Europe. And then what he found there, like that, the people are taking one ideal today and giving it up next day. So then another ideal they will take up, then day after tomorrow they will give it up also. So this is their trend, this is their society, this is their nature. And they are coming and sermonizing Indian people who are holding on to one thought for thousands of years. They don't care, Indian people. What is the benefit I am getting? What is the thing that I am getting out of it? No, they are just sticking to that idea. They are so dedicated. So this dedication, have you shown in your society? You show me and then I will talk to you. You don't have any dedication to anything and you say me that yes, you are wrong. So Swamiji is completely disqualifying them. I have finished what I had to say about our religion. I will end by reminding you of the one pressing necessity of the day. Praise be to the Vyasa, the great author of the Mahabharata, that in this Kali Yuga there is one great work. The tapas and the other hard yogas that were practiced in other yugas do not work now. So every yoga has some kind of ideal. Every yoga has some temperament. Every yoga has some mood of its own. So what is he telling? So Swamiji is telling, see that great Vyasa, he understood the mood of Kali Yuga. He knew the mood of Kali Yuga. What is the mood of Kali Yuga? What is the temperament of Kali Yuga? Swamiji is saying that he first praises that Vyasa. So he is now telling that what is that mood of this Kali Yuga. What is needed in this Yuga is giving, helping others. What is meant by dana? The highest of gifts is the giving of spiritual knowledge. That is, Swami says. What is the temperament of Kali Yuga? Kali Yuga's temperament is dana. What not dana? Now that he is telling. Because Vyasa says, Paropakarastu punyaya papaya parapidanam. This Vyasa says. So Swamiji is quoting from that. Swamiji quotes it from in his letters also. So here he is not quoting that shloka, but the sentiment is same. That what Vyasa told, Paropakarastu punyaya papaya parapidanam. So this is the central philosophy of Kali Yuga. What you should do? What is the Kali Yuga's temperament? Kali Yuga's mode is to paropakara. Now what kind of paropakara I should do? Then he is telling the gradations of paropakara. What kind of paropakaras you can do? So the highest of gifts is the giving of spiritual knowledge. That is the highest. The next is the giving of secular knowledge. And the next is the saving of life. The last is giving food and drink. He who gives spiritual knowledge saves the soul from many and many a birth. So the highest is gift of spiritual knowledge. Highest paropakara, highest dana is what? The giving of spiritual knowledge. Why? Because once the person is awakened spiritually, by listening to a spiritual discourse, by listening to a spiritual talk, or by taking a spiritual initiation, or by getting introduced to spiritual ideas, the person is awakened spiritually, internally. That awakening will cause him to cut down his number of births that he will have to undergo, sufferings of so many of births. Many and many births will be cut down. He will get illumination sooner or later, and then his so many of sufferings will be can be cut down. So this is the greatest benefit, that you are giving some such knowledge which will take that person to immortality, to take that person to eternal life, eternal knowledge. So this knowledge, this giving, this paropakara, this dana is the greatest. What is that? Giving of spiritual knowledge. Then what comes? Next stage, next level comes giving a secular knowledge. Secular knowledge of science will help you to survive better. So it is next level. So your life will be more comfortable if you know a secular knowledge, secular streams of knowledge. So your life will be comfortable. Most of your problems will be solved in life. So that is the second level, and it is a longer time. So the highest gradation of gift is that spiritual knowledge, because it survives longest. It survives eternally. That is why it is the greatest gift. Next, which is best, is secular knowledge, because it survives for one lifetime. Whatever, if you teach somebody to survive himself, to how to say suppose earn his livelihood, then what happens? He will use that knowledge, secular knowledge, for his livelihood, and he will have a good life. So for one whole lifetime, that the dana will survive. That's why it is second grade. Then next comes saving of life. So somebody is dying, somebody is suffering, you go and do something so that his life will be saved. Then whatever, that is the third thing. So somebody was having some difficulty in life, and you went and saved his life. And the last one is giving food and drink. Why it is last one? Because if you feed somebody, hungry person, another 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, again he is hungry. So that time period of that dana lasts only for few hours. Or drink. If you give water to somebody, thirsty person, definitely it is great. Swami is saying, Paropakarastu punya hai. It causes great punya. He is not undermining the importance of giving of food and drink, but he is just giving the gradations according to the greatness of that gift. So the least is giving of food and drink. And then he continues, he who gives spiritual knowledge saves the soul from many and many a birth. He who gives secular knowledge opens the eyes of human beings towards spiritual knowledge, and far below these rank all other gifts, even the saving of life. So all others are a little subordinate to these main two gifts, gift of spiritual knowledge and gift of secular knowledge. Therefore, it is necessary that you learn this and note that all other kinds of work are of much less value than that of imparting spiritual knowledge. So all other things are of much less value. Spiritual knowledge is the most important to give. The highest and greatest help is that given in the dissemination of spiritual knowledge. There is an eternal fountain of spirituality in our scriptures, and nowhere on earth except in this land of renunciation do we find such noble examples of practical spirituality. So this practical spirituality that we have in our land, that should be spread, that should be given to others. I have had a little experience of the world, Swami is telling. Believe me, there is much talking in other lands, but the practical man of religion who has carried it into his life is here and here alone. Talking is not religion. Parrots may talk, machines may talk nowadays, but show me the life of renunciation, of spirituality, of all suffering, of love infinite. This kind of life indicates a spiritual man. So this kind of life is led only in India. The life of renunciation, life of love, life of service, life of all suffering. The person who will suffer himself, but he will be loving others and he will be serving others. He has renounced all his personal pleasures and he is dedicated to the life of spirituality. This you find only in India. With such ideas and such noble practical examples in our country, it would be a great pity if the treasures in the brains and hearts of all these great yogis were not brought out to become the common property of everyone, rich and poor, high and low. Not only in India, but they must be thrown broadcast all over the world. So he is telling, what is our greatest gift? Spiritual knowledge that we have. Because our society, so many people are practicing religion. They are practical. It is not just empty talk. It is not a parrots muttering something. But we are the people who are practicing religion. We are the people who have practicalized the greatest concepts of Vedanta. So it is our right to bring that knowledge of the greatest yogis, whatever was there in their great brains and hearts, that love that was in their hearts, and those great realizations and ideas that they were having in their brains. Let us bring them out and give it broadcast all over India, not only in India, but also in other country in the West. Let us give these spiritual ideas to all over the world, broadcast. This is the one of our greatest duties, and you will find that the more you work to help others, the more you help yourselves. So this is also one of the concepts Swamiji discusses in Karma Yoga also. The one vital duty incumbent on you, if you really love your religion, if you really love your country, is that you must struggle hard to be up and doing with this one great idea of bringing out the treasures from your closed books and delivering them over to their rightful heirs. So now, so long your books were closed. They were never propagated. They were closed because they were waiting for the rightful heirs, as if who is the rightful heir of my knowledge? So all our scriptures were as if the closed books, they were lying for hundreds and thousands of years, waiting for the rightful heir. And Swami says, now the time has come. Give them broadcast. You are the people of India. You are the people who have been practicing this. You have been following these scriptures. Now, these ideas you take to the world. You broadcast them. And you must struggle hard up and doing. You now struggle. You have to, if you really love your religion, if you really love your country, then bring these treasures out of the closed books and deliver them to the rightful heirs. And above all, one thing is necessary. Now he is concluding this lecture. This is the last paragraph of the lecture on Vedantism. He is concluding it like, because Swamiji, after talking about all this greatness of our religion and our society and our everything, he is still being pinched by one thing. That is kind of everywhere he is seeing in Indian society. And unless that is cured, one disease, unless that is cured, he is finding it difficult to actualize these ideas so far discussed. So what is that disease that we are having? He is discussing. So he says, and above all, one thing is necessary. So everything I discussed, but one thing is necessary above all of that. What is that? For ages we have been saturated with awful jealousy. We are always getting jealous of each other. Why has this man a little precedence and not I? Even in the worship of God, we want precedence. To such a state of slavery have we come. This is to be avoided. If there is any crime, sin in India at this time, it is this slavery. Everyone wants to command and no one wants to obey. So in our Indian society, what is the problem now? We are so much jealous of each other. We don't want to encourage our brother. We don't want to support our brother. But what we want? To bring down our brother. What we don't want? To pull down our brother. If he is progressing, if he is evolving, if he is doing something, what we want is to criticize him, to bring him down. Do whatever you want. Whatever capacity we are having, whatever energy, time, everything, what we do, we invest in bringing down our own brother, our own countryman. That, he is doing something, okay, let me criticize him. Whole life I invest. I will come out with I will manufacture so many conspiracies to bring the other person down. My own person, my own brother. So this is the greatest fault Swami says. Slaves only behave like this. When there is a group of slaves, what they will do, if one slave is getting out of that slave camp, then they all will come together and somehow again pull him down. Because they won't like that one of our slaves is liberated. One of our slaves is free. They won't like it. They will like to see that everybody should suffer. We all together should keep suffering only. Nobody should get liberation from this suffering. So this is the mentality of slaves. And Swami is saying, let us not keep attach ourselves to this slavery. Everyone wants to command, but no one wants to obey. And if somebody is doing good, nobody wants to obey him. If somebody is doing a great work, somebody is leading in the path of religion, in the path of spirituality, now we should follow him. We should obey him. We should not go and command him. We should not go and argue with him. Hey, who are you to do this? No, let us follow him. If somebody is really rightful heir of this propagating ideas of our scriptures, let us follow him. Let us obey him. And then give up our jealousy. Oh, why should he be a leader? Why should he lead our country? Why should he lead our religion? Why should he lead our scriptures and all these things? No, let us follow him, because he is trying to lead our society to greatness. He is trying to liberate our society. So this kind of obedience is not there. It is missing. And this is owing to the absence of that wonderful brahmacharya system of yore. So Swami is saying, why this has happened? Because we have given up that wonderful brahmacharya system of those olden days. Therefore, first, learn to obey. That's what Swami says. First, what you learn now? To obey. The command will come by itself. Always first learn to be a servant, and then you will be fit to be a master. Avoid this jealousy, and you will do great works that have yet to be done. Our ancestors did most wonderful works, and we look back upon their work with veneration and pride. But we also are going to do great deeds, and let others look back with blessings and pride upon us as their ancestors. So, our ancestors did great things. So we also must do something that our next generations will look at us. We are the ancestors of them. They should also look at us with pride. They should also look at us with veneration. So with the blessing of the Lord, everyone here will yet do such deeds that will eclipse those of our ancestors, great and glorious as they may have been. So he is invoking the blessings of the Lord, and he is awakening all of the listeners that everyone here will yet do such deeds that will eclipse those of our ancestors. He is saying, I invoke the greatness in you. I awaken the greatness in you, O Indian people, that you will do such great deeds that it will eclipse the greatness of the previous generations. It will be so big. Your greatness will so outpass. It will so outrun the previous generations' deeds that it will eclipse them. So much should be your greatness. That is his, Swamiji is a dreamer. Swamiji is an ambitious person. So he doesn't put any goal which is petty, which is short. Swamiji's goals are always highest. Swamiji's ideas are always highest. Swamiji's dreams are always highest. Swamiji doesn't take satisfaction in having smaller goals. So he is saying, if I have to imagine you, all people of India, to be having achieved greatness, I will not imagine a small greatness. I will imagine such a greatness that will eclipse to all the previous greatness of all our ancestors. This is his expectation from his countrymen. That he is invoking the blessings of the Lord for achieving that greatness. And his blessing also that may this great deed, such a great deed, will eclipse those of our ancestors, great and glorious as they may have been. They may have been great and glorious, but let us have such a greatness that will eclipse their greatness and glory. So this is the last lecture. Swamiji is concluding by warning the Indian people of keeping themselves away from this pettiness. So giving up all this pettiness, giving up this jealousy, giving up this slavery, and coming together, working for one cause, being a servant of our one great cause, our great leader, and then completely dedicating ourselves and obeying his command. So then, not to question why, Swamiji says in one letter, ours is not to question why, but to do and die. So he writes to his brother disciples like that. So don't be jealous. The same sentiments he is expressing here also. So Swamiji is coming from America. He has seen the world. He has consolidated all the ideas of the East and West, all the religions, all the history, and now he's presenting before Indian people one formula to work out. But if they don't listen to him, if he has just now he has landed in India, and if whatever he is telling them, if they keep quarreling about it, they keep fighting about it, no, who are you to tell us? No, who are you? Why should we listen to you? So then he says, don't do this. So Swamiji is indirectly, he's telling them, he's kind of appealing them that you listen to me. I have recipients. You listen to me. I am as if I am coming from those ancestors, their voice. I am their voice. And then I am telling you, if you do this, if you obey me, then you will become great. You will eclipse the greatness of your ancestors. That much greatness I can give you. So it is like indirectly, Swami is saying, all these things that, see, I have brought for you some message. I have brought for you something, experience of my life. And I am giving you something. You take it. Don't quarrel about it. Don't be jealous about it. That no, why should Swami Vivekananda only should become great? Why we should not become great? You will become great. First you serve. Then you will become master. If you serve my cause, if you serve the cause of the scriptures, if you serve the cause of our religion, which I represent, then you will also one day become master. So just obey me at this moment. Just do what I am saying. Then you will also have the ability one day, by obeying me, the representative of those great sages, if you obey me and if you follow me, you will take our country to that greatness. This is a kind of indirect sentiment, indirect message that we find the sentiment, or what you say, the reading between the lines, we can say. This, that Swamiji is kind of appealing to Indian people, that I have brought for you something, you follow it. And then you will be able to become masters. So this is a wonderful chapter on Vedantism. And then next time we will discuss Swamiji's reply to the address of welcome at Pamban. So there at Pamban also he has, that is a short lecture though, but it is also an important lecture. So we will discuss it in our next classes. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.